Great. Norman, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I think I'm not sure who's having who, but it's nice to be here. Thank you, wherever here is.
Yeah, well,
On
in this,
somewhere in the Ethernet halfway between Mexico and Brighton.
yes, I know, but we'll see you here in Mexico really soon. So that's
Yeah.
great. That's great news. Hey, you've been playing for 40 years now. And I have to ask you, what still surprises you about DJing live? Or did you get used to it at some point?
No, no, I think I get more pleasure now than I did when I started from it.
Hmm.
It's because every night is different. It's always a different crowd and it's people getting to know each other and there's a different vibe, there's a different venue and so every night is a little bit different. I think if you're a band, you play the same set every night and the crowd know what you're going to play. With a DJ, it's like I don't play the same set twice and I go on a journey with the crowd. So it's yeah, no, it's lovely. I'm obviously not doing it for a year during the pandemic. That really made me appreciate how lucky I am to do this job and how much I love it.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how do you keep like updated? How do you find new music and how do you prepare for your DJ sets? Like you say, you never play like the same things every night.
I get sent so much stuff. In the old days it was crate digging.
Yeah.
Now it's like digital crate digging, but I spend 2 or 3 days a week just listening to all the new tunes I've been sent. And so I listen to all the bad ones, so you don't have to. That's part of my job. It's a very time consuming and quite unpleasant job, but that's the job, that's the service I provide for you.
Thank you for your service. And also, I have to ask, what are the main things you've noticed that about rave, how has changed all over these years?
Well, it's got bigger. It's got bigger, and the trouble is when things are underground, the people who do it, they just do it for the love. And they do it because they love the music or they love the lifestyle or they're just being love being naughty late at night. And that was perhaps what originally attracted me to it. But in the 40 years that I've been doing this, it's gone from that to like a big business, and
Mhm.
there's money involved. And when the money is involved, there's not so much love, or the love is for money rather than for each other or for the music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, bits of it, some places you go and some clubs you go, it's more about money and it's less about the love of the music or the way that the music brings people together. It's about, oh, I want to buy a really expensive bottle of vodka, or I want to be seen, or I've got big boobs. There isn't the same love for it, but you can still search out the good parties. You can still search out the good stuff. I tend to avoid places where they have a big VIP section and stuff like
Mm.
that. And I don't really like the VIP culture. But I mean there's the reason that we love doing this is we want to go out and we want to commune and connect with each other, and or we also want to lose ourselves and escape for a few hours, and using music and dance is a really good way of just escaping. And so that bit doesn't change. It doesn't matter what the technology is of that the DJ is using, or how much the bottle of vodka costs. That's the same instinct that we have.
Yeah, that's amazing. And actually, that's what I was going to ask you. Because me as a fan, whenever I go to a festival and I see these VIP sections, like all the people are like interested in posting your photo on Instagram or like on social media. But I think in a deeper level, the way music, especially dance music, give us this feeling of togetherness and to lose ourselves no matter the people you are with. So I
Yeah.
think that's really
I mean,
special.
that's the weird thing is that when you look at the VIP section, they're the ones who paid the most money to have the least fun. They
Yeah,
they never
totally.
look like they're very happy, and they're only happy when they're going like that.
Yeah, or they have like the drink in their hand and they are like just like I don't know, like dancing, but they are not really dancing. So
Yeah,
it's
and they may, the thing that makes them most happy is to prove to other people how much money they're spending.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I don't, that's not for me. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm not criticizing these people, and you know, there's and you know the whole phone thing. There's a lot of clubs at the moment that are trying to ban having phones, ban using your phone as a camera. And I don't want to ban it because, you know, it's nice to have a little memory of, you know, especially if you're having a really good night. If you have a really good night, sometimes you don't remember a lot of it the next day. So it's nice to be
Yeah.
able to have, but not to be a slave, you know, not to spend all
Yeah.
night filming, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. And why would you say your music has aged so well? I mean, like Radio or Right Here, Right Now, and many other anthems connects really well with the actual generation, like with younger people today.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just got lucky with the meme, you know, the idea of them. We've come a long, long way together through the hard times and the good. That kind of fits so many different situations. It could be
Yeah.
about a relationship, it could be about a football team, it could be about your job, you know, it's like, and so I think it's endured, I think it's lasted, because it's still, you know, it still summons up an emotion and it could be about different things. So I think that's why the you know, and then new generations, it means something to them too. So, but I got lucky. I didn't intend, you know, I
Mm.
remember saying at the time, I don't intend people to still to be listening to this music in 20 years' time. Here we are 25 years later, and they are still listening to it. But I'm glad I was wrong.
Well, I think that only reflects how good of an artist and a DJ you are. So congratulations and thank you for your music. And talking about your music, this year you've been releasing a lot of music. So what keeps you motivated, like to keep, yeah, sharing new music?
That's how my love of music works. My love of music works that as soon as that I'm always looking to discover a new tune. And when I discover it, I get really excited and I just want to share it with all my friends, all my, you know, my audience. And that was why it was so difficult during the lockdown. Because if I
Mm,
found a new tune, it's like, I've got no one to play it to. Like, And it was quite, you know, so my love of music involves sharing it with other people. And
yeah.
that's, I think, why I never get bored of you know, trying to find new stuff and playing things to people. Some people are quite selfish that when they hear something, they just want to hear it on their own on headphones, you know. But I love I want the world to hear it. That's how it's a bit like if a tree falls in the forest and only one person hears it, it doesn't make much of a sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And actually, yesterday I was talking with a friend about how independent during the pandemic, Gorillas gave like a virtual show. Like it was really weird, like that time of the pandemic. So I think it's great that we could come back to these live shows because it's a totally different experience. And we're really looking forward to see you here in Mexico, November 1st. So, how has been your connection with Mexican fans?
I've not been to Mexico enough.
Okay.
I've been to Brazil a lot. I've been going to Argentina a lot, and obviously, you know, sort of the west coast of America. But I don't seem to go to Mexico enough because every single time I go to Mexico, I just get such a great response. Like people go crazy, and
Yeah.
I feel love, I feel excitement, and every time it's like note to self, come to Mexico more often. But I think it's to do with business
Okay.
that you know, my management, you know, and I say to them, like, more shows in Mexico, and they go, okay, and then they go, well, that one's difficult, and that's one's difficult. There's something in the business that doesn't work because, yeah, I always feel bad that I should come to Mexico more, and not just Mexico City, you know, to
Mhm.
get out and around the country, but it just doesn't seem to happen. I think that the promoters aren't quite. I think the promoters in Mexico, they don't really they don't make my management feel safe.
Oh,
You
wow.
understand? I mean, not necessarily, you know, safe as in safe from everything, but they don't give off a good air that things will work. And
Okay.
I have, yeah, and you know, and it can be sometimes a little. It feels like a long way from home sometimes. But the crowds that I meet in Mexico, they're just the most lovely people. And I mean, I go on holidays to Mexico more than I play gigs there.
Well, that's great too. So that you can enjoy Mexico in some way.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, I'm also really curious about it. What do you think about like the new technology stuff that I don't know, like artificial intelligence that helps people to make music easier? Well, I don't know if it's easier, but approachable maybe.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. It's really interesting. I think it's still in its infancy. I think it, that in 10 years' time, what we've got now will seem very small. Um, but I don't know exactly where it's going. I mean, the one thing is that now computers can write a piece of music and they can make it sound like Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
And but then it's like, but well, what will Taylor Swift's management say about that? Who
Yeah.
owns it? If a machine has made it, is it really Taylor Swift? Or, as long as you don't write Taylor Swift on it, but if it looks like her and sounds like her, but it isn't her, who owns it? So that's an interesting,
Hmm.
debate. But also, will it be better than Taylor Swift? And why, can it ever actually replace her? But I think the clue to it is it's called artificial intelligence. But some of the best things about art and music and culture are not intelligence. They're stupidity or mistakes or
Hmm.
human frailty. That's what makes us human, is that we don't necessarily get things right and we're not necessarily that clever. So I'll be more worried when they invent artificial unintelligence. That's when I'll start worrying.
Yeah, that's like the real competition between humans, right?
Yeah. No, 'cause if you think about it, if you think about art, for years, painters were trying to be more and more realistic. And then they got to a point, it was like, okay, well, so you can't get any more realistic like that. That's like a photograph, even though we haven't invented photographs. So then, but then Picasso came along and started deliberately getting things wrong. And it was that made art more beautiful and more unique and more cherished. And so now all AI can do is make a photo. It can't deliberately get things wrong and work out why we like some things that are wrong, which is
Yeah,
good.
that's
Which is
mhm.
good. It means I've still got a job,
Yeah.
and your algorithms on a streaming service can predict what they think you'll like. It's like, if you like
Yeah.
this, you like that, but they don't know, like they haven't got the instinct that DJs have.
Yeah, totally. In my experience, algorithm like doesn't really work well for me. Like they suggest artists that I really don't like. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It only follows logic and intelligence.
Yeah.
Probably, and your taste in music is probably based on emotion and your
Yeah,
frailty, and
totally.
or something that's wrong but turns you on.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah,
And my mood, it depends where like the context and my mood of
yeah.
every single day. So thank you very much. This was a really interesting conversation. But finally, I want to ask you, all the CDs you have back there, like do you still play that CDs in your
Oh,
background?
these here,
Yeah.
a bit, yeah. I mean, it's more for reference. Uh,
Oh, okay. I
they're
love
for
it.
reference. Also they're reference, but they're part of my. I love the music that I bought, so I never get rid of it. Um, every now and then I use them for reference, but I don't really need them anymore. They're my old friends.
Yeah, it's part of your story, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Norman, thank you very much for your time, and I'm really looking forward to your show here in Mexico City. So
Listen, I'll
also
see
to
see you
write
on
it.
the Day of the Dead.
Yes, that would be really great. Thank you very much.
Nice to
Bye.
talk to you.
Nice to
Bye.
meet you.